Hey, this is Heidi Dawson. If you love all things health and wellness and style of any kind, hang out here with me each week. I'm obsessed with never-ending improvement, and it's all in an effort to help each one of us live a wildly successful lifestyle. Subscribe today so you don't miss a thing.
Hi guys, welcome to episode 235 of the Wildly Successful Lifestyle Podcast. So how many of you have ever had something that you really want, but you still don't have it? Most of us, right? I'm going to go out on a limb and say probably all of us. Well, in this episode, we're going to figure out why you don't have what you want, and that's a really big deal. So be sure to share it with as many people as you can. Now, this thing you want, it may be a certain car or a certain partner, or maybe it's a good relationship with a certain person that you're struggling with. Right now, you may be thinking about what that is. So my question to you is, why don't you have it? And another question I have is, do you have it already and you just don't know it? Well, I do a thought download every day, which is basically just I write down all the thoughts I have in my head, either generally at the moment or regarding a specific topic. Whatever comes into my head, I just write it down. And this last week, during one of my thought downloads, I was kind of putting it out to the universe for clarity on what I wanted. It was clarity for me, but also so that it's out there, something I want. Now, I'm going to go into detail clearly how you do a thought download at the end of the episode, so hang on. Be sure to listen to the end. But as I went through my thought download, there were 6 things that I wrote down. Pretty big things. As I looked at them, I realized there were 3 of them I most definitely already had. I didn't realize until I actually wrote it down. So then I thought, why do I have those things, but I don't have the other 3? And I, was kind of thinking it through and muddling it through my brain. And I realized that, I have a very specific plan for the 3 things I've already accomplished. I knew exactly how I wanted it to look and exactly what I needed to do to make it happen. And I also knew I was willing to do the things it took to get there. Now, these were things I believed I could have, and they were in my own personal power to have them. And I also had no conflicting thoughts about them. That's powerful. Of course, you're going to have it if you think about it that way. But then I realized the other 3 things, not so much. My thoughts about them were very different. I think those partially depend on other people to make happen because I don't know how to do them, and I think I have to have help. But I also realize there's a certain level of responsibility that comes with them, and sometimes responsibility makes me uncomfortable. I equate freedom with a lack of responsibility, and freedom's pretty high on my list of priorities. So there's a lot of conflicting thoughts that I didn't realize were there until I did this thought download. Now, when you're conflicted about something, you'll never have it because you aren't even sure you want what comes with it. So of course you're not going to be all in on doing what it takes to get it. So for instance, if you want a car, let's say your car you want is a Range Rover. You love the way those cars look, but you've also heard they require a lot of maintenance and they're expensive to maintain. And by the way, they don't get good gas mileage. So even though you like it and you think, I could be just so happy if I had that car, you won't even let yourself consider it seriously because you think the hassle will be more than the reward. You also think there's no way you could afford it in the first place. So you think you want it, but you have conflicting thoughts about it. So even if you could afford it, you wouldn't consider it. I give this example because I love Range Rovers and I do have one, but I knew exactly how I wanted it to look down to the sheen of the interior wood grain. And my husband was on board too, and he knew exactly what he was willing to pay. We had no conflicting thoughts about it and ultimately found the one that met both of our requirements. Deal done. No hesitance at all. So my point in all of this is if there's something you really want, like definitely you think it's meant to be yours, do a thought download about it. Whatever it is, car, partner, weight loss, business, anything you want. Figure out where you're having conflicting thoughts and clean them up. It's in your power to have what you want. If it's meant for you, it's going to be yours. You just have to line up with it and know what's holding you back from going all in to get it. And right now, I know some of you are thinking, yeah, right, if I want Brad Pitt or if I want Angelina Jolie to be my partner, that's just never going to happen. Well, I'm here to say this. You turn yourself into someone that Brad Pitt or Angelina Jolie would consider, and you'll get your version of Brad Pitt or Angelina Jolie, the one that's right for you. So how do you know the one that's right for you? Well, you thought download on exactly what you want from a partner. Because here's the thing. Maybe you have a passionate belief like the world is doing well and has plenty of natural resources and can take care of itself. But Brad Pitt has a passionate belief that the resources are limited and humans have to save it from other people. And maybe you believe in God and Brad doesn't. Maybe he eats meat and you don't. You probably aren't going to cross paths with that guy because there's nothing to align you. But you will cross paths with your version of that guy. You get fit, healthy, clear, happy, and authentic, and that's magnetic. You get there and you'll have 50 Brads to choose from, and they'll be more in sync with who you want, which is what you ultimately want. And you knew that because you did your thought download of what you want. That's actually how I met my husband. He had a list of what he wanted, and so did I. Now, he carried it around in his wallet, where mine was in my head. That'll tell you all you need to know about us. But we had it nonetheless. He actually let me read his list when we first met. It was awesome. I might do an episode on that. It was a lot of fun. But the power of the thought download is incredible because you also see where you have conflicting thoughts. Now, that's a big reason why people don't have what they want. They're conflicted. I'll give you an example of that. Maybe you've been trying to lose weight or trying to slow down on alcohol, but after a thought download, either by yourself or with a life coach, you realize you're afraid if you lose weight or you slow down on drinking alcohol, you'll feel isolated from your friends and family because that's what brings you together in a kind of a way. No one wants to feel isolated. We're hardwired to believe that isolation means death. Our ancestors, if they were isolated from the tribe, they died. So of course you would keep eating or drinking because in a way it's the difference between life and death. That's powerful, deep stuff, but so fixable. You just have to get to the bottom of why you're doing what you're doing that blocks what you ultimately want. You and only you stand in the way of what you want. That's it. No one else can stop you from having it. And believing they can gives all your power away. And you may not even realize you believe they can until you write it down. Kind of like my thought that the 3 things I want that I don't have require other people to make it happen. I realized when I was doing my thought download that it doesn't. I can figure it out, and if I need to hire someone, I control that too. I'm not giving my power to that invisible hero that will swoop in and be the thing I need anymore. Me believing I can be my own hero and I can figure it out, that's the missing puzzle piece. What's your missing puzzle piece? You could be one thought download away from finding that. And this thought download doesn't have to take long. It could be 5 minutes of writing down on a piece of paper or in your notes app every thought you have going through your head about a certain subject, good or bad, positive thoughts and negative thoughts. Get them all out of your head and down on paper. You'll be surprised. Sometimes you don't realize your thoughts until you write them down. And you don't have to solve them. You don't have to turn them around. You just have to know they're there. You can do this for anything or anyone. So my challenge to you this week is to get a notebook. I have one of those remarkable notebooks. I love it. It's this little it's like a little notebook computer. I love it. But however you do it, start doing a thought download on something you want but you don't have. Write down every thought you have, good or bad. You might be surprised at the thoughts you have that simply aren't true, and also the thoughts that definitely are conflicting. You could quickly identify why you don't have it, and then decide whether you want to hang on to those thoughts or find a way to the ones that serve you. And let me say this, life coaches are trained to help you do this. So if you want a little extra help, reach out to a life coach. I actually have a few available spots open if you'd like to email me at Heidi@HeidiDawson.com, or I could refer you to others as well. All right, share this with 3 people today. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you in a few days.
Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends because we're just going to keep going bigger and better places together, and I love that about us. Talk to you in a few days.